Hello guys, and welcome back to Netmaster Zone channel, and welcome back to new video from Remote Access VPN. For those who just joined to our channel and joined to this video, I recommend that go back to the channel and check the previous video of Remote Access VPN in the playlist of Remote Access VPN. And for you guys that you have been with me from the start of this lab, let me explain you that I just add this management PC here to manage the ISE server, and also just change the image of this user 1 to with a full let me show you. Before it was Windows 10 Teeny, and I just changed that to a full version of Windows 10 to actually check everything very better and clear. And also I just add this, as I said, because I want to access the ISE server from my physical PC, and also access this Windows Server 2008 in a remote desktop. That makes everything very clear and easy. What actually we are going to do in this video, if you remember in the previous video that we configured the Remote Access VPN, and also we just create some users in this ASA, and then download the any connect to in user 1 and access the corporate network with different user privilege. And as I said that creating user and managing user in the ASA local database, it's not an easy job, and if the number of users increase, that it will be near to impossible to manage everything in the ASA. And because of that, it is required to have a actually another identity source to manage our users. And because of that, in this new world actually we have the Active Directory and also ISE. With the combination of these two, that we can manage our user much better and much easier. And also the ISE will provide some other function and some other option to us to actually filter our users to accessing these different devices inside the corporate network. For example, as I said before, that Sarah was the network administrator, and she had access to everything here, but Bob and Jake, they were working with HR and with the finance department, and they didn't need to access everything. And also for example, maybe there is some databases also hosted in this Active Directory, and may Bob need to access that as a HTTP or HTTPS service, but it doesn't need to access, for example, remote access or maybe file access and like this. And then ISE actually help us to filter the IP address and also the port. For example, we just say that if the port is 8080, that is HTTP, the Bob can access this Active Directory. But if the port, for example, is the remote desktop, or it's SSH port 21, port 3980 or something, that Bob is not able to access, and only Sarah can access this. We can configure that in this ISE. But for now, let's first of all start the configuration of our Windows Server as Active Directory, because when we are going to configure this, we need some information like domain name and NTP server, and for that we need to first configure our Active Directory here. Then we will go to the ISE, configure the ISE, join that to the Active Directory, and then we will continue the other guideline of our lab. Okay, for now let's access this and install the Active Directory, then we will continue our lab by installing the ISE. Okay, for that let's access the remote desktop of this Active Directory. Actually, before I just configure some IP address for that to makes everything ready. And okay, this is our Windows Server 2008, and the IP address is configured, DNS is configured, and everything is ready to configure for our configuration. And let me mention you that the time is not correct. It's 7:10 p.m. But here is 4:10 p.m. and actually this is very important to sync our clock. But for now, let's first install our Active Directory, and then we will go and we will change this time, and we'll configure the time clock on this. But now let me see, let me update that. Yes, with the update actually the time become correct, but I'm not sure that after installation it will be the same. Because of that, it's very important to configure the NTP server for the for this Windows server and also for the ISE. For now, let's first install the Active Directory here and configure the DNS for this server. Let's go to the rule, and we don't have any rule now. Let's add a rule. Collecting data, it takes maybe some time to, the rule is off. Okay, let's add the rule. Next, we are going to install the Active Directory domain and services, and for that is the pre-requirement is .net, and let me continue this. Next, okay, first he's going to install the .NET framework, and after that it will give us the option for installing the DNS and Active Directory. Okay, the installation is completed. You may mention the clock here that during this video I may stop the video many times because it's just waiting for the installation. It's nothing to speak about. But for now, this actually is installed. Let's close this and let's continue our installation of Active Directory. Okay, the Active Directory is not installed, and we need to run the Active Directory domain and service installation wizard here. Okay, let's it's just a simple wizard, and the Windows will install the Active Directory. We are going to create a new domain, and let's give the FQND fully qualified domain name, and I'm going to use here nmz .corp.com .br as my domain name. And it's very important to remember this because we need to configure that in the ISE after completed the installation of this actually the Active Directory. Okay, next is for actually backward compatibility. It's okay, Windows 2003. And let's examine the DNS configuration. We don't have any DNS configuration, and this wizard will also install our DNS also. Okay, let's click next. We are going to install the DNS server here. Okay, just give us the message that the DNS server is cannot be created because actually we don't have any DNS. Let's continue our installation, and at the end we will configure the DNS here. Okay, it's need a password for Active Directory. Next, and now just we are going to wait to finish this installation, and after installation complete, the computer will be reboot automatically, and we will come back and start our DNS configuration and also other configuration if it's required. Okay, our domain controller is installed, and now the Windows just come back, let me show you that we have the time zone of -3 here, Brasilia, the IP address, and also the computer name and the domain. Okay, let's close this and let's go to the rule and again configure our DNS server for this. For now, let me check what is the DNS IP address here in the NIC card. Properties, and let me see that before I just configure the 888 before installation of Active Directory, but now let's see. Okay, it's changed to 172.7.0.0.1, the local IP local address of the PC. It's okay. And now let's go to the rules and let's go to the DNS server and configure this DNS server to access actually the internet. For now, let me to check. Let's access this PC before I just add the IP address and DNS, IP DNS, and let me ping if I can ping the internet. Yes, and let me ping if it can ping a website by the name. You can see I cannot resolve the name because the DNS server actually doesn't have any record for resolving the name. For that, let's configure the name. Let's go to the forward backup rule and to our domain here. Let's create a new host, a AAA. We can give a name, or if we don't give a name, we just use the parent name for that. We do not need the name. Let's just add this 888 as a DNS server to resolve, and then in the backup rule same, let's create a new zone, everything by default, next, and let's add 10.10 our corporate network here. Okay, our DNS is configured. Now let's check. This time we should be able to ping this website Google. IP DNS 10.10.2.21. Okay, now you can see I can ping the Google website by the name. It means that our server, our DNS server, just resolving the name. Okay, now our server is ready, and also if we check the time clock, you can see that it's synchronized, and we are in the -3 time zone, Brasilia, and everything looks okay here. Let's go to the ISE server and start our ISE configuration here. And for that, I just using the VNC Viewer because it's not a Windows and it doesn't support remote desktop. For that, when you just turn on the ISE, it needs to be installed, and for that it just give you a hint here and ask you to type setup to start the configuration. And from this point, actually just asking different information of IP address, NTP server, domain name, and so on, and then it will start the installation. For now, first question is the host name. Let's select ISE-1 as host name. Then the IP address according to our topology. The IP address is 10.10.2.25, and the subnet mask 255.255.255.0. The gateway 10.10.2.1, and now it's just asking for IPv6. We don't have any IPv6 configuration here, and now asking for default DNS name, and the DNS that we configured before, nmz.corp.com.br. This is the domain that we just configure in the Windows server, and the IP address of the name server is 10.10.2.21, and the secondary name server, no, we don't have. And here it's just asking for NTP time server. Let's accept the default, and also we can add another one here For example, I'm going to use time dot windows .com. That is the time server of Microsoft Windows. And another time server, no, we don't need anything. And now it's just asking for the time zone. As you saw before, that we are in the -3 of time zone, and we have to tell to the ISE that where we are. For that, let me use America / Sao Paulo. And it just you see that it just accept this, and if you just type another time zone that it's not correct, actually it will just give you the message that this time zone is not correct. You can find this different time zone in the ISE documentation in the Cisco website, that what kind of time zone actually is available here. But for me is America, and that is Sao Paulo. Now let's do we want to enable the SSH? Yes, maybe we can use it maybe later. And now from this time, I think it will asking for username and password, of course. Yes, for the username, and then let's select the password for that. Make sure that it doesn't accept Cisco or a combination of something like that, because of the security. And now I just type a password with combination of a small and capital letter, and also numbers and special characters. Now you can see that it's just bringing up the network interface and starting the actually checking that this information that we provide before. Thus it can check the gateway, and also the DNS name, DNS server, IP address, and NTP server, and so on. Let's wait for that pinging the gateway. If any of this test is failed, actually just give us a message and ask us to reconfigure our IP. For example, if we type a different IP address or different gateway, maybe that ISE may not be able to ping its gateway, then it will ask us again to change these IP addresses. Okay, now it's just testing the IO performance. Actually, this is the input and output performance of the hard disk that we are going to install the ISE on that. And as I'm in the lab, maybe just give me warning or messages that it's not the input output is not enough for the ISE, but in the real environment, when we are going to configure ISE for a real network to use it, you need to take care of this message, and you have to provide at least the pre-requirement of the ISE server for input and output hard disk. And else you may face a lot of problem by the speed of the server. But mostly I believe if you actually ISE come in two different type. The physical server that it's just designed for the ISE, or you can install that on a virtual machine like VMware. ESXi, mostly people use that, and in the ESXi of course you have to provide the required requisite of the ISE, and you can find that in the Cisco website, what is the recommendation of the Cisco for the RAM, for the hard disk speed, the space, and also the number of NIC card, and so on. But here in the lab, I think it's not a big deal that we can install that and we can test our lab here, because we are not going to use the ISE as it's designed for. Okay, let's wait for this to continue the installation. And yes, as you see here, that it just give me a warning that the input output is not enough for the installation of the ISE. And if you want to use this server in a real environment, you have to review your input output drive. But we are going to use that in the lab, and there is no problem for this warning. Okay, And now from this point we should not use Control C, because it will stop all the installation of the ISE, and we need to re-image our server. But now you see that the installation of the ISE application is started, and let's wait for that. It will take from 15 to half an hour to install all the databases and all the application that is required for the ISE. Let's pause the video, and when the installation complete, I will come back and continue the configuration. Okay guys, now the ISE server is installed, and after actually a long time, I just received some error during the installation. It said that the database priming is not installed, and that's because of the NIC card or something, but finally it's installed now, and I didn't log in before. Let me log in and see if all the application is actually running, and also the NTP server is synced or not. Let's log in. Username admin and password. Okay, now let's first check the clock. Show clock. The clock actually it's synced 2211, and let me check the NTP. And NTP server, you can see that actually it's synced with time.a-b.nist.gov, and you can see here this flag shows that this is a server pair, and also this star means that the current time source is this. And now there is a very important command that can help us to make sure that our ISE is up and running. That is show application status ISE. This command actually it will be very useful to check that our ISE is up and running. It means all the application is run and it's ready to log in using the browser. Let's wait for that, and we will see that if all the application is running or not. Okay, you can see that all the application is running. This is running, and none of them is not running. If any of this is not running, it means that the ISE is not ready to access using the GUI. But this process that you can see is disabled. It's because that maybe we don't have the license for that, or maybe it's need to be installed later. But for now, our ISE server is ready, and now we should be able to access the GUI interface of the ISE server. Let's go to the browser. And that is https 10.10.2.25. Okay, you can see that in the first access you can see that because we don't have a certificate for that, you know this, and we can proceed this. We know that this is safe, there is no problem, and this is the ISE server GUI interface. Let's log in with the same username and password of CLI. The password is wrong. Let's try again. It's loading the application. This is the first log into the GUI interface. Okay, at first actually the Cisco asking us to connect our account for the smart licensing for the license, but as we don't have any license of that, I'm just clicking provide later and let's accept and close. And then in the first view, let's check the license that we have here, the license warning you can see. The good thing is that actually Cisco provide the evaluation license for 90 days, and at least we can use this ISE in our lab and learn about that. Okay, let's okay this, and now our ISE is ready, and the time, as you see, it was synced with the our domain, our Windows server here. And now for the first step, actually let me first check the NTP here. We are going to administrator setting and system and settings. In the setting, you can see that we have a option here with the system time, and it should shows the system time that we actually configured before during the installation in the CLI. Let's wait for that. Okay, the first time it was the default time server that actually Cisco recommend for us, and the second one is the time server that I used for actually this one is the Microsoft Windows time server. Okay, now also the time zone, you can see that is America, Sao Paulo, and it means that we are in -3 time zone. Now let's join our ISE to the domain controller. For that, let's go to administrator, and here you can see we have external identity source. Let's click on that. First of all, in the external identity source, you can see we have an option of Active Directory here. Let me click on that, and let's create a join point first, and then we can join our ISE to the domain controller. Okay, Active Directory, add. We just need to give a name here as a join point name. For example, I'm using AD1, and of course we need to provide a domain name here. It was nmz .corp.com .br, and let's submit this. You can see these two text, actually this two option is mandatory. We have to provide this information. Okay, now the ISE comes here and it will ask us to join. We can click on yes, and let me click on no, and then when you want to join that, you can tick that, actually select that and click on join. And also we have some diagnostic tools here. With these tools, actually we can check that if we have all the prerequisite of joining this to the Active Directory or not. For that, let me start testing, and that test will be run in all of this different option that is required, and it should pass. You can see that we just failed two of this, and I think it's because of the it should be because of the clock this two, because this is the Kebro check SASL. It's depend to the time. Okay, let's close this and let's try to join to see what will be happened. Click on this and join. For joining that, you need to provide the username and password of the administrator of domain controller, because we are going to add this to the domain controller. If everything is okay, it should join our ISE to the domain controller without any error, but let's see. Okay, it's completed. It means that everything is okay. We don't have any problem with the time, and now our ISE actually is a part of the domain. And if we go to the domain controller here, we should see the ISE as a host that is joined to the domain. Use Active Directory user and computers. Let's go to the domain, and it should be in the computers or somewhere. Yes, here you can see that ISE1 actually it just comes here, and now the ISE is joined to the domain controller. The good thing about this, that when you join your ISE to the domain controller, that you have other options here. For example, in the groups, that you can add the groups from the domain controller. For example, here the domain is nmz.corp.com.be, and when I click on return the groups, all the groups that inside the Active Directory, of course, all of them will comes here. This is the groups that is actually by default is available inside the domain controller. You can see that bulletin, and also some global, some domain local, and this is the groups that it's by default is available in the Active Directory. But we can create our group also, and then by retrieving these groups, all of them will come here, and then we can select them and use them inside the ISE server. You can also filter the groups here, but for now we don't have any groups. Actually, we didn't create any group inside the domain controller, but I think this video is too long, and let me do that in another video. For now, let's finish our video, but before that, let's see what actually we configure here. We just configure our domain controller, and also we configure the DNS server on this, and then we just install our ISE and provide all the information from domain controller to the ISE, and of course the IP address, the gateway, the name, the domain name, and also the IP address of the domain controller. Then the ISE will contact with the domain controller, and also when we configure the DNS server here, now the ISE is also able to access the internet from using this DNS server here. Now our ISE and our domain controller is ready, and in the next video we are going to add this ASA to the ISE to give the control of the ASA to the ISE to access the actually the ASA needs to access the users inside the domain controller, and because of that we need to configure a radio server, A radio server here in the ASA to use this users and groups inside the domain controller, and the ISE will be control the access. Actually, the user will be authenticated here, and when it's authenticated, it will come to the ISE, and then ISE will provide a policy that what kind of access that user is required, and that access will be provided to the user. And also, as I said, it's not only the filtering of IP address, we can also filter the port number. For example, as I said, the Bob may needs to access some HTTP here inside the domain controller, but he doesn't need to access the for example, remote desktop. For that, we also I will configure this. I will create user and group in the domain controller, and also I will install the IIS to provide the HTTP website actually here to access that from this end user. Okay, for now let's finish our video. Thank you for watching. Please share, and also I'm just waiting for your comment and for your question. If you have any comment and question, just write it in the comment and I will try to answer as much as I can. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.